Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of Hebrews. Today we begin looking at Hebrews chapter 12. And you notice the chapter begins with that word, therefore. Now, you know the old cliche, whenever you see a therefore, you ask what it is there for. It's a transitional word and it connects what follows with what went before. Now we've spent a number of sessions looking at Hebrews chapter 11, that great chapter on faith, the roll call of the heroes of faith who have gone before us and shown us the wonder and the pattern of living a life of faith, of trust in God. Therefore, we're told in chapter 12, this is what we should do. Since we have these great examples of faith who've gone before us, therefore, this is what we must do. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. Notice the author of Hebrews refers to these great heroes of faith as a cloud of witnesses. You know, when we talk about the church, we talk about the church triumphant, those who have already finished their course of faith and are now in heaven in fellowship with the Father. And we also talk about the church militant, that is, those of us who are still on the earth and living this life of faith on the earth. But the church militant, that is the church on earth, is encouraged by the church triumphant. It's like being in a great sports event and the stadium is filled with the spectators. Those are the clouds of witnesses. Those are those who have gone before, but now they are watching us and encouraging us, as it were, by their examples that have been left for us. And so as we engage in this great race of the Christian faith, and you know, oftentimes the Christian life in the Bible is compared to a race, a marathon. So as we engage in this great race of the Christian faith, the spectators are around us, the great cloud of witnesses. We are surrounded by them. They are cheering us on from heaven even, because we're still in fellowship with them. They are the church triumphant, but they long for us to continue to live that life of faith that they showed us how. So therefore, since we are surrounded by this great cloud of witnesses, what should we do? Well, notice what the author of Hebrews says. Let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race that is marked out for us. See, there's that emphasis on the race. Fixing our eyes on Jesus, who is the pioneer and the perfecter of faith. So being surrounded by all these great witnesses of faith, who've lived such a life of trust, we must lay aside, throw away, disentangle ourselves from anything that would hinder us, anything that would hold us back, any sin that might trip us up. You know, we live in a fallen world, don't we? And there's lots of temptations and distractions. And so the author of Hebrews says, understand that. Keep your eyes on the goal, keep running the race, and put aside from your life anything that would hinder you or that would hold you back. Any kind of sin that would crop up in your life, don't allow it. If a sin crops up, you immediately confess it, get forgiveness, and then by the grace of God, put it aside. Any hindrance in your life, you turn it over to Jesus and you just keep going. Don't let things trip you up. Don't let things distract you from the goal. Lay aside, put off anything, everything that hinders you. Run with perseverance. You know, this race we are running, I said a moment ago, it's like a marathon. It's like a long race. You know, there are different kind of races people run. They're short sprints, like a 100-yard dash, which takes a quick burst of energy, but is over in a few seconds. But then there's a marathon, that long race that requires endurance and persistence and perseverance. The Christian life is like a marathon. You run till you reach the goal. You keep running, you keep enduring, you keep persisting. That's why you have to lay aside things that entangle you. Keep your eyes on the finish line. Keep your eyes on where you're going and run with perseverance this marathon of the Christian life. All the while, you fix your eyes on Jesus. Keep your eyes on the Lord. You know, when we slip up, when we fall, when we get hindered, is when we take our eyes off of Jesus. Sometimes the world distracts us and we start looking at other things. That's when we get in trouble. So keep your eyes on Jesus. That will allow you to lay aside anything that hinders. That will allow you to keep running with perseverance the race that is set before you. This is the key. Keep your eyes on Jesus. He is the pioneer. He is the perfecter of our faith. All we need comes from him. So fix your eyes on Jesus. As the old song says, turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Turn your eyes on Jesus. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Hope you join us tomorrow as we continue our 5-minute Bible study in the book of Hebrews.